Presentation today, it's on screen. It's Mirza Burhan Baig, who was here same time yesterday, the great hospital hack.
I cannot join you today personally on this stage, but I'll try to be there next year, hopefully. So let's start with the presentation. So today my talk will be on the great hospital hack we did for hospital industry. We do red teaming assessment for multiple financial institutions and the health industry as well. So we came across a test, and that was an assessment I cannot forget, because we did a lot in that. So I'll be covering a lot of point in that today, and I'll be explaining what they were lacking and what we did. So let's start with the presentation. So, few words about myself. As you're already aware that my name is Mirza Burhan Baig, and I'm working as a senior security consultant in a UK-based firm, and I'm OSCP certified with some of the known credentials, and I was heavily involved in the bug bounty hunting program in back 2012 and 13, and was awarded and honored by Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon. There are a lot of companies which I cannot put the name over here. So I've spoken on the big stages like TrustCon, Black Hat Mia last year, and WAS chapters. I've spoken for a lot of WAS chapters in Islamabad, B-sides, and yeah, a lot of things going on. The Lee hack this year, which happened in the Paris. So I've worked for the financial institutions, I've worked for the health industry, government industry, so I've quite a large experience set of my, and nowadays I'm more interested in the red teaming, and this talk will be covering a lot of things about my red teaming experience for our organization that we did earlier. As you're already well aware, there's a saying, there are only two types of companies, those who have been hacked and those that will be. So no matter what, how much you are putting the boxes, security boxes in your company, or you are thinking that you're safe, but I must say that nothing has been patched successfully or completely. So there is a loophole, there is someone waiting for you to make mistakes. So what happens, just take care of your boxes, security boxes, and let's see what happens next. Now, if I talk about the hospital attack surface, because I'm talking about the hospital red teaming right now, so I'll be covering a lot of things that considered to be what we can say attack surface for a hospital industry, or the health industry, if you want to say. So there are a large quantity of diverse endpoints, because a lot of vendors are there, and you're putting all the boxes, compliance requirements, tools, applications, mobile applications, a lot of endpoints are there, and you need to cover those as well. Insider access, there are a lot of people who have gained the access and who have the access. It is pretty much hard for anyone in the IT team to conclude all the access at one time. So you have to look for the groups, then you make the subgroups, and then we give the permission access, and we check the logs simultaneously if you have the SOC system installed in your organization. And there are spear phishing attacks as well going on for the hospitality industry as well, and the health industry as well, if I'm not wrong, because we are very much afraid of the health issues. So what happens, some people are very well aware about the social engineering, but those who are not, they are the, what can I say, they are the victim for the social engineering attack for the spear phishing. Yeah. Then high exposure of the third-party components, because as I mentioned earlier, large quantities endpoints, every vendor comes with their own tools, set of tools, applications, data, the APIs are exposed. There are a lot of things going on in the market. So let's get over some facts behind the breaches. We will be discussing a few of them, that what happened, how this has happened. So it is estimated, but it's not the actual value. 42% was penetrated by the outsiders, 59% were involved insider, because most of the time we have seen that the attack has been initiated from the inside. So it's kind of an insider job, because they have the access to the management area as well. They have the access to the what we can say, the RFID cards, the access control list, and all the other things. So that kind of considered to be insider threat attacks as well. Top patterns that has been observed were the malicious errors in the application or the web application APIs, that kind of thing. Privilege misuse, basically, if I'm privileged to use the data center or to access the DB, so I can give the access to someone, because of the social engineering or something else. So yeah, web applications are heavily involved in the health industry nowadays as well. Why? Because most of us check the reports online rather than going to the lab or the hospital. So we prefer the mobile application API or the web application. So they are the very vulnerable endpoints, if you can see that. So the data compromise was the that's just stats, and we are updating that as well for the next one. 72% medical data, 34% personal data, and 25% credentials were exposed and hacked during the multiple attacks. What can I say? There are threat actors working continuously for every industry. So few of them were Klopp, ISA, Astrol, and Hive. There are a lot of more threat actors who are working against the health industry, and they are considered as APT groups because they are working day and night to just get your health data out of the system. Some of the notable data breaches, if I just have to mention over here: Alabama Health System forced to limit hospital server after a ransomware attack. Yes, we have observed that the health industry faces the ransomware attack because the medical data and the health record of the patient is more critical than anything in the hospital. And if you lose that, you might face some problem in the market and the code as well. So yeah, that's pretty much real world example that was hit by a hospital was hit by a ransomware. And yeah, that happened actually. Not exactly related to the hospital or the health industry, but I just want to say and explain that how APT works. There are a lot of APTs working for the different industries. There is a group Lazarus, and they're working for the financial and the banking industry. They are working day and night to get the data out of the bank, and they're making new techniques, procedures, and the processes. And there is a Bangladesh banking attack. They took around 81 million US dollars, and that was stopped, but there was an attack. So there is a group, and they were working on something. So for the financial industry, there are separate APT actors, but for the health and the hospital industry, there are a lot of different actors working right now. So let's start with the attack pattern, that what we have done and what we are going to follow one by one, stream by stream, that what we did, how we did that, what we have found that in the attack. So I'm going to just demonstrate you an attack that we did for a hospital, masking all the data because of the confidentiality. And I'll try to explain you the process, that how you can start the red teaming assessment for a hospital, health industry, or any industry in that case. So let's start with the first thing. We did the Wi-Fi hacking. Pretty simple entry point in an organization. So Wi-Fi attack, we use a karma attack using evil twin attack, where we launch the another Wi-Fi with the same name and force the people to disconnect from the original one and to connect back to ours. That will bring us two things. That can bring us the hashes as well in the communication if you are trying to capture that. And most of the time we can get the clear text password as well. So let's see what happens next. So initially we launched the Wi-Fi attack because that's pretty much loophole for everyone in that hospital, and there's university operated in that as well. So there are students, teachers, staff, admin, finance people, and all the other people as well. They are connecting to the Wi-Fi system of that organization, and most of them are vulnerable to our attack, and we force down them to disconnect from the original one and connecting back. It's a pretty simple attack, Wi-Fi attack we used to do for the organizations, and most of the people have connected that, and we got the NTLM hashes in that, we got the plain text passwords in that, and we got a lot of things. If I would just want to tell you about the data, how much data we have got through that. So we successfully collected 600 plus credentials, either in plain text on the NTLM. No worries, we will try to bypass it by cracking the password NTLM. They're most common things we can use, right? So what we did, we used the GPU rigs to break the password internally, and because we cannot offer that NTLM hash to some cloud service or someone else, because that is that what we don't want to do, right? So we build the rigs inside the organization office, and we try to crack the password, and yeah, we successfully got the password cracked. After the succession of the password cracking, we got multiple plain text passwords, through which we start the investigation by gathering the information. What kind of user do we have, what students are having, what exactly the high privileged users are using, because we have a complete internet accounts and all the other things. So we scratch that one by one. And here I want to bring the point that red teaming assessment is an assessment that doesn't count the days, because there's an assessment, if you are locking that assessment for the 5-10 days, that won't be helping the red teamers to do their job. It's an ongoing process, and we scratch the back at any time of the day, at any time of the night, and we try to get the data out of the organization. So next step, we start the intelligence threat program, and what we did, we try to collect everything from those users that we have just cracked. So first, I would like to tell you that what we have found and what's the impact of those things. Some of the things that we have found are the user with privilege accesses. So now there's a bell ringing in my mind that what we were doing, that we were capturing all the credentials, and we are trying one by one, hard and hard, that is there any backup, is there any config file, is there any password that is stored in the plain text, is there any PowerShell script. There are a lot of things going on in my mind. Desktop host name and the local administrators, because if I can run the command and the software in the local admin, and I can privilege back to the AD, so I can run anything inside the organization and connect back to the outside world. Let's see what happens. So we have found the SOC reports as well. We have gained the access to the SOC system as well to see all the reports, emails, Outlook access inside the organization, so we can read every email that is going through the SOC to the users, and there are a lot of things going on in our mind. Network configuration files to read the data, to see what kind of data they are using, creating our own ACL. These are things going on in our mind that if we can get the access on these one by one, we can capture the whole organization in just a day, because network configuration, we can set up the ACLs, SOC reports, we can delete our traces back, and local admins, we can install anything we want to do. Yeah. BitLogger keys, that's more interesting. BitLogger key is that most interesting thing, that there are a lot of drives that are locked with the BitLogger because they contain the sensitive information, right? We put the BitLogger to save all the information, but now I have the key, so I can retrieve the password, not retrieve, but I can open up the drive. Impact was very high because we can access the emails, we can access the SOC reports, our daily operations, what's going on in the organization, how they are tracking us. Basically, the main point was in our mind that if we can access the SOC reports or SOC system, so we can see that how they're planning something against us in the period to attack. So one day before, I can see what they're planning, what they're putting, the filters and all the other things. So the next day we can plan an attack accordingly. So there are a lot of things going in our mind, but right now we don't have anything in hand. So let's move forward. So next thing, AD enumeration, we name it domain dominance because we are going for the AD right now. So I just want to own the domain and all the other things. So by scratching some emails and some reports, we found there is an email which was titled administrative right access form, and it contains a list of users, and the email says, as you can see, as discussed with Mr. Blah Blah, kindly find the list of the users for administrative rights. Now you can see that we have the list of the users they have given the access as an administrator, and then the previous captured attack, we have the list of the users. So now we can compare to them, and we can run as a local admin on the system. Now let's see what happened next. So we created a local user, Mr. X, as a part of the local admin group. Now what happens if I can execute the command from there, if I can run the software, run the script, run the mimikits and all the other things, so now it won't be stopping me because I am the part of the local admin group, right? Microsoft Defender antivirus exclusion. We just copy our files. We copy the mimic the most important thing in the attack right now. We copy that in a folder and we create some exclusions in the antivirus that please do not scan them, do not delete them, or just exclude them while you're scanning anything. So in that vicinity and the organization part, the antivirus is not scanning our mimics, the most dangerous thing that could happen to an organization. After that, we run the power exploit that enumerated domain admin groups, enterprise admin groups, a lot of things going on in that organization that we have captured. We were short of data saving devices, hard drives, external hard drives, because there are a lot of data coming in with the documents, not just the text, with the documents and all the other collection of the PDF, blueprints, and what's on what not, because we are just collecting the data. After that, we can filter that out and we will see what we have to do. But right now, the main goal is to capture everything that we are getting from that organization. So after the hard work of ours, we were able to find an Active Directory backup. So I was not sure how old it is, what does it contains, but backup is a backup. You can find anything, and maybe I can use it for some purpose. So let's see what happens. We found the basically it shows the location of the backup. We navigated to that location and we found a lot of things going on in that system. So what we try to do, we try to just copy and see what the files contains. So now we tried the ntds.dit file. We try to extract the content of that file to see what happens in this. So ntds.dit file that contains a database for the Active Directory. It contains the password hashes. Maybe it can contain thousands of hashes right now. So let's see. There is a system file as well, the boot key and all the other things for that purpose. So what we did, we just extracted that and we tried to open and extract the content of that file. And boom, what we found, we are just decrypting the file and there were 28,000 plus hashes in that file. That was a boom moment for us because we can crack the hashes. We can see what's going on in the organization that can contain the SOC, management, finance, admin, directors. There are a lot of things going on in our mind. So we move forward with that and we try to crack the passwords as much as we can do. So we have cracked the password. There were the service credentials. There were privileged accounts, weak password hashes, user mailbox, jump servers. There are a lot of things going on. So what we try to do, we try to crack the passwords and reuse that to see what's going on. And after a few moments of the hard work, we were able to capture the most important thing in the network, that is a golden ticket. Those who know what is a golden ticket, that's perfectly fine. But those who don't know about the golden ticket file is something that makes you unrestricted, and there's access to every system, every domain, every user in the network, so you can access everything in the network. But that is a backup of the AD, but we are not sure if it's gonna work or not. So we tried that and hopefully yes, we did that and that worked in the network. And what we did next, we run the mimics. Yeah, because we were the local admin as well. We have the credential for that. And we made the antivirus exclusion as well in the directory. So now we can run the mimics purely, plainly as we are planned. So we try to traverse the directories, it denies, we run the mimics, and then what happens, we try to access that directory by escalating the privileges. Yes, so we were able to traverse the directories, we were able to see the reports and all the other things. Now the main thing that is more interested for me to capture all the health record, data record, because that is the critical thing. And the SOC reports, that is a critical thing for an organization to display that you are vulnerable and your data can be leaked out. So now moving to the third phase of the attack, which is a network compromise. We have captured the credentials, we have dominated the AD, and we have got the golden ticket. Now we are moving towards a network compromise. We will see the firewalls, we will see the VPNs, we will see the scan reports. Let's see what we can find. Okay, some of the artifacts that we have discovered during this phase were the vulnerability assessment scan reports. So we were very well aware of what kind of vulnerabilities are going on in this network or the machines, and where this is specifically particularly vulnerable right now. Device configuration files, the firewall configuration files, we can access that very easily. We can see the ACLs and all the other things. SSL VPN user with their access level. This is the most critical thing, because I can, if I want to transfer the data inside or outside, I'm just looking for the VPN and the SSL access level user, so I can connect from the external to the internal and traverse back to the data that I want to send. Network inventory, almost everything was captured, and we were just hitting it one by one in the face so we can capture all the data. So accessing the firewall was the first thing. We connect to that and we try to capture the firewall. And now let's see what happens. We log into the FortiGate account and we are trying to firewall, backdooring the firewall. How? We created a user that is super admin with some particular pretty same name as the previous one. So no one will suspect that this is newly created. If the log says, that says. But and then with the naked eyes, no one can consider that this is a malicious backdoor, right? So we created that and we tried to log in with that specific user. Firewall was backdoored. Now what we try to create, we log into the system. We try to the login of the admin rights, and we see how we can manipulate the ACLs. And there were a lot of things that we have tried, which is not mentioned over here, but I'll try to just give you a brief overview that what we did. Simply, we just backdoor the firewall by creating a user. These all techniques and the procedures are pretty simple if you find a loophole, right? The main purpose of this assessment was to get into that organization. And if you're inside the organization for once and you can play your tactics, your procedures and all the other things, they're pretty simple thing, right? Creating a admin account on the firewall, that's a pretty simple thing. But to get access to that point is the main thing. So yeah, we created the user with the read and write access. Everything was organized, everything was planned, and we allow the access to the telnet as well if you want to take the telnet of that machine, or the firewall to change the rules, ACL. So yeah, we did that. And in the meantime, we were creating that. We were scratching the emails as well. Another team was doing that. They were scratching the emails, and they noticed that there were some emails that the support IDs were created. There are support agents, support people, and they were creating the IDs for them. So there was an email which says that few users are removed and some of them have given the privilege, right? What we can do, we have the users, we have the passwords. We tried one of them, and yeah, we can log in into the firewall once again, and now we are accessing it with the support IDs previously captured. Now we don't have to use our own credential that we have created backdoored, but we have used the similar one that we found over the email. Now the main thing that I was looking for previously is a SOC report and the SOC monitoring, how they're working and what they're chatting about. So we found a ticket that states that there were some users were created and we were not aware of. They were accessing something we are not aware of, and a user was created on our device and were not informed about. There are a lot of complaints from them that there are a lot of user has been created, given the access, but the SOC team was not aware of anything that has happened. So there are a lot of things in our hand now. We have the SOC reports, we have the VA reports, network identities. Now what we are going to do, we are creating the malicious support IDs on the Active Directory. Now we have created the backdoor on the firewall. We are just keeping our hand tight over the networks. For that, we create the people support IDs on the AD so it looks legit for anyone that looks inside the AD or the network, or if someone is accessing something on the network with the support ID. So they will consider, yeah, that's a support ID. That's not a malicious thing to do. So we just created the support IDs. And after the creation of the support IDs, we try to log in again to test that if that works or not. And yes, it worked like a charm. We were logging into the firewall with the support ID that is created just recently. So you are following the trail, how we entered and how we are marching towards our goal. So that's the perspective of the red teaming assessment, that start from somewhere, do whatever you want to do, and just get the access to the main core system. So now we are confirmed that we are sure that the access control or the support IDs are working perfectly. Same goes with the email boxes. We created the user ID. We try to access the emails, and we have seen a lot of emails going on in the organization, alert, SOC reports, because every time we do something, they send the alert. User account was deleted, user account was created. We removed those emails, by the way. While we are doing the test, we remove those emails so no one get the suspicious of that what's going on. We check the email, there's an alert, new user created, we delete that. So no one have seen that email that someone has created something on the network. So that's a planned activity that we were doing for that organization. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving towards the final phase of the attack. Now we are trying to access the data center and the backups of the complete organization. For that, we try to backdoor the HP Superdome as well. The credentials were not cracked. They were found in the plain text in a file we scratched previously. So we log in, and just the way we backdoor the network device, we backdoor the HP Superdome. And to add up the spices, we take the connection from the VPN, from the external to the internal, and we allow the access from the firewall ACL, that we can access that anytime, any day we want, and we can take the data from that as well, because we have everything. We have a backups, and we have the admin users with the ACL controls, and perfectly fine. Now what we did, we try to take the access to a host that is responsible for the health database, and it contained the Oracle backup service, and we saw that thing, and we try to take the next step, and we try to check the backups if we can get those backup out of the system. This is the moment that I was waiting, because I was just waiting for the records. I was not interested in the firewall, I was not interested in the VPN, but I'm interested in the records, because this is the most critical thing for an organization. They're trying to save that. They're trying to put the boxes in front of that, thousands of boxes, people working day and night to secure that, but achieving, going there, getting the files is the most satisfying thing in the whole attack. So now we have the files, we have the host, we have the backup, and yeah, that was a red teaming, but white box. So we have to inform everything, and we inform everything securely according to the NDA, and we try to make it happen as soon as possible. Rather than someone getting hands on that, we try to report it back and fix that next morning, and after that we create the report and all the other things to the management. But the main goal is to make sure it is secured on the same day, because it's very extremely critical thing that we have just found. So ladies and gentlemen, look for everything. There's a code that I always use. You can patch every system in this world, but you cannot patch human stupidity. Because why I say that, the social engineering is the main part of the red teaming attack. Either we do with the Wi-Fi, either we do with the cafeteria, either I try to clone your card. By the way, we try to clone the card as well in this attack, which I have not mentioned over here because something are confidential. So we try to clone the card of the user from the data center, and we try to access that as well, getting our clothes changed and making ourselves someone else from industry. And yeah, we did that as well in this assessment. So ladies and gentlemen, just look out for everything, anything in your organization. And red teaming is an assessment that every organization should consider, should do, so no one takes their data out of the organization without their permission. So with this note, thank you very much everyone. If you have any questions, I'll be answering them over here. And if you want to contact me, there are certain details, and you can scan the barcode as well. So thank you very much everyone for your time. Have a nice day ahead, and happy hunting. Yeah, bye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that brings a close to the presentations in the security dome. 4:30, the Tyson Krupp make their awards following the competition at their stand. And 5 minutes later, 4:35, the CEO of the event organizer will deliver the closing ceremony. Thank you very much for your attendance.